Call the meeting to order, March 23rd, 2016, at Aurora Housing Authority. Roll call, please.
Bill Powell,
Present.
Melanie Wimbley, here. Ray Cruz,
Present.
Scott Boris,
Commissioner Voris is sick today,
Dave Richard,
and Commissioner Richard is on vacation,
Mariana Hill,
and Commissioner Hill had an unexpected event come up.
Anthony Sandberg.
Present.
Approval of the minutes of the regular meeting for February 24th, 2016.
I motion that we approve the minutes.
Got a motion?
Oh, so moved. A second, I'm sorry.
Second.
Wake up first.
There's a motion is second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any public comments today?
No.
Comments. All right, review of financial reports.
For the month of February, as you noted, the Housing Authority had a $142,000 net loss. Programmatically, it's a $9,000 net loss in the public housing program and a $132,000 net loss in the Section 8 program. The only reason that happened, and I think I mentioned it at the last meeting, is that HUD they short us about $200,000 on our HAP funds. So that's the only reason for the loss. Other than that, we'd have a small profit. I will say though, and kind of hedging next month's reports, you'll probably see a similar loss in your March financials simply because we spent a very large amount of money getting our REACT score stuff together. So it'll be for a completely different reason, but we'll see probably losses to close out the year.
A point of clarification,
Mhm.
that's based on just the money they've been holding back for everybody, right?
Yeah, it's not just us. No, it's not
Not
punitive.
just a shortage
no.
that they gave us because you.
No, it's because we had reserves and they were
Yeah,
forcing us to use them.
I just want to make sure.
Were there any questions on the financials?
No other questions? We'll move on to departmental reports.
I'm sorry, Chief.
Is this right?
As they continue to do that, I want to make sure that, and I know you are, but I need to get it on the record, of course. You're still comfortable with our income, our expenses, and where that's putting us in terms of the health of the organization?
I am, and for two reasons. One, at the beginning of this year, HUD did come out with a note, basically an update to our funding. At the beginning of every year, they give you kind of an update for your expected funding for the full year. And now that they've done the recapture, their goal is to kind of pull back everybody's Section 8 reserves so people aren't holding money. You remember the whole CHA issue. So they've kind of taken that approach with all agencies, but now they're actually providing us or planning to provide us with a full set of money every month. So we should be getting about between $900,000 and $1 million, $900,000 and $1 million every month. And we shouldn't have any real cash flow issues anymore.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any other questions? All right. Departmental reports.
So the Housing Authority finally finished our long-awaited REACT scoring, and we had what I consider to be very, very successful results. If you recall, when we started this process 2 years ago, it was the family sites that scored in the 50s. This time around, they scored an 80, which is the highest score the family sites have ever had.
Nice.
The score is high enough. We won't be re-inspected next year. The next inspection won't be until 2018. So that's phenomenal growth in that score. And then on the high-rise sites, if you remember last year, we had a 47. We increased that score by 25%. It's a 59 now. So again, we have to continue working on that. But what it says to me is that the things that we put into place to start to remedy that are effective. We're starting to see the scores make the leaps and bounds that we want them to make. We expect next year to go from 59 to 70 and 70 to 80. We really do expect to continue these results. We're going to continue to push the public housing team and the maintenance team to kind of continue these results. And I have to give a lot of credit to Maria and her staff, Carlos and Jimmy and their teams, for really buying in. We spent the last 2-3 months solely dedicated to this. I've seen more contractors and their bills than I'll ever want to see at one time again. But at the end of the day, it was necessary, and I think everybody kind of bought in and did the work that needed to be done to get these results. So that's just to me is a huge improvement for us. As we talked before, the energy performance contract is still moving forward. They're in the kind of information gathering stage. The next big step with them will be an investment grade audit. So they'll come in, they're going to look at all of our utility spending, look at it to real detail. I mean, the last time I sat through one of these, they pick individual bills apart and try to understand the variance from month to month in your gas bill at one location. They're doing that in order to determine how much savings they can guarantee us through the energy performance measures. Now, we've talked about some of the things they've kind of laid out: the solar plan, new toilets, new light bulbs, all of those things. This is how they determine which items of their proposal they can actually guarantee that they can do the savings on, and those will be the things that we'll bring to the board and say we would like to move forward with the project under these conditions. So right now, they're doing a lot of information gathering. I expect the audit probably start in the summertime. They've still got tons of old bills to gather from us, information they need to get from Comcast and some of our other suppliers of energy. And then lastly, we're starting our internship again this summer, third year. Dr. Holloway again is running it for us and has kind of prepared another. I think what we'll have is another excellent internship class as well. We're trying to expand it a little bit. We've looked at Columbia University for an interior design background. We've also looked at some architecture students who, we want to talk a little bit more and just kind of engage students a little bit more who might have an eye towards just how things look. And we oftentimes focus on how we manage them and kind of ignore how things actually look and feel and flow. I know when you look at a modern building, it's vastly different from what we operate that were built in the 30s, 40s, and 50s. So we're looking to expand the program a little bit, have some new students in. The rotational approach is still the same. At the end of the internship, they'll still do a presentation for the board. But we're really excited, and Dr. Holloway does really, really good work and has always provided us with a great class. So, are there any questions from me?
Yes, on the energy performance contract, Keith, two points of clarification. EPC partner, are they a non-for-profit firm? Are they a for-profit firm?
For-profit firm.
For-profit firm,
Mm-hmm.
and they're just giving us a proposal for what they can do. Do we have to, if they give us a proposal, is there another company that's going to give us a competitive proposal?
No, we actually procured them, and the board approved our agreement with CTI. So they are actually going to be our more say consultant on this. Their job is to go out and find the companies and do all the procurement, and they're HUD approved to do that already. But they go out, they find all the contractors, the major contractors that are going to be digging and building all those different things. But their biggest role is to guarantee savings, because one of the requirements under this program is we will continue to be paid for utilities even though we're not spending the money. We keep the savings.
Right.
In order to be HUD approved, they have to be able to guarantee to their risk that we're going to actually see these savings in future years. So in order for us to do the lending, do the financing, they have to be able to, without a doubt, guarantee those funds. And if we don't get the savings, they actually have to pay us the savings that they promised us in the project.
Yeah, I was just looking for a clarification on that, because I've seen like some of these solar panels, right? And you spend a big chunk of money, but then it's like a 17 to 24 year payback period.
Right.
Does that sometimes make sense or not make
Right.
sense? So I just want to make sure that it makes sense and how that partnership really works.
And those are things we will also have to bring back to the board. There is at least one other point of approval that we'll need before we can kind of move ahead with the financing piece.
Yeah.
And that's obviously that the whole project hinges on that. I know Commissioner Vorris, when he called me earlier today, he voiced his questions and concerns about the whole idea of the solar panel, because obviously, like I said, it's a very expensive thing to build in, and it does have a very long payback period. So it's when they propose
and they break down,
exactly,
the whole
right.
the wiring and stuff breaks down the whole time.
And one of the things even the CTI even said was it can only work if it's supported by savings from some of the other more realistic things. It's the low flow toilets, new shower heads, light bulbs, things that are more practical, lower cost, but have a bigger impact.
Right. And the second question I had on that, I know that we're a federal agency, but the state of Illinois also has things like that. Can this agency participate with the state
Absolutely.
of Illinois on
Yeah.
those types of things?
We are. They were created by state law, so absolutely, we can. And we have in the past. And I know the first, 2 years I was here, we received a grant. Now the grant came to us through the University of Illinois, but that grant was a state-funded energy performance grant. So that was a little different because they just gave us funds. We didn't have to really do much for them other than
Right.
put together a plan and show how we would use the money. But that's how we did a lot of the upgrades that we did in past years, was that we used that grant program. Well, it's not paying out now, but word is once the state does start paying out again, that we're kind of at the top of the list because we've had really good success with the program.
Yeah, cause we participated in one in our company, and it was a state that was trying to reduce all kinds of costs in the state. So if you had like a big building, they would come in and do like a whole audit,
Mm-hmm.
and it was, we didn't really pay anything for it, cause it was taxpayer dollars, and they said, okay, change your light bulbs, do this, and, you know, it was pretty much a free program from the state, so. I didn't know if, again, because we were federal, if we can participate in that, so.
In the state of Illinois, we could, yes.
Okay, cool, thank you.
Any other, yes, ma'am?
Question, I understand, so, great job for rehab, of course,
Thank you.
that since we won't have that till 2018, still, AHA does their annual inspection,
Yes.
right?
Yes. So
And also the city?
the city will still do their inspections. This is completely so. So the city, you know, they come in and do their inspection. They'll continue to do theirs, and we'll continue to do ours. And as part of maintaining these scores,
Okay.
we want to continue to. We will still come out and do the inspections. We're going to do a year-long REACT process, so it'll be a lot more. I won't say interactive, but it'll be more of a quarterly process where we're spending a lot more time regularly doing these kinds of things, but so that we can kind of stay on top of the problems and not let them build to a point where we're trying to cram all that into 3 months.
And like more preventative
Yeah,
maintenance?
absolutely. We want to get to a point where we're getting ahead of the game instead of reacting to things.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for me? Yeah. Right.
At the top of your page there, you have your waiting list numbers. You have public housing, you have 670 applicants. For HCV, we have 156 applicants, and for the project-based voucher, we have 462. Project-based will increase as we did recently open the waiting list for the 1-bedrooms for the St. Charles Hospital project that is going on. I did also have the chance to walk the entire length of the REAC inspections. That was a fun task. Tiring.
One day?
2.
Cut in
I
a lot of
believe-
steps that day then.
Yeah, they did the family site on one day and then the high-rise buildings on a separate day. We've also already narrowed down what our next tier upgrade unit will be, which is a scattered site over on Ridge Avenue. It is a 3-bedroom unit located in DuPage County. And then we have some of the activities that went on at various sites. Centennial House is gonna be hosting an Easter service for dinner. We've got a couple things going on over at Eastwood that's still in the planning stages. And I believe Grace Deliverance over at Centennial did an appreciation dinner. Any questions?
Okay, for the Housing Choice Voucher Program for the month of February, the caseworkers had 80 recertifications in progress. They completed 40 annual reexaminations, 46 rent adjustments. They had 20 briefings, which were families porting in, and families that were moving within and VASH. We had 4 port outs, families that we sent to other housing authorities. We had 13 lease ups. We had 17 move-in inspections completed, 49 annual inspections, 19 re-inspections. We had 6 terminations. 3 were for family obligation violations. 1 family was over income and became over income, and we had 2 families that ported out that were absorbed. We had 1 unit that was abated. We signed 3 repayment agreements. We now have a total of 13 of the project-based vouchers with the Fox Prairie Homes. We have 22 VASH veterans vouchers leased and 843 housing choice vouchers leased. Any questions?
Jimmy, as soon as rehab ended, went on vacation. So, and much earned. So I haven't actually seen Jimmy in about 2 weeks. So, were there any questions on REACT or any of the maintenance items we've had going on lately?
We get a report from rehab, and I score, and I applaud everybody for, you know, the increased scores. I think that bodes well for the housing authority. I appreciate everybody's hard work. What areas are we still getting, do we need to concentrate on?
Right. So this year, you know, we spent a lot because we lost a lot of points in previous years dealing with the exteriors of our sites. So this year, I don't think we lost really any points in the exteriors. I mean, we spent a lot of time. We shaved sidewalks, all kind of stuff to keep from losing those points. So this year, we really didn't lose any exterior points. The biggest areas of concern, and one of them, because I walked for a while over both days too, and when we were at Maple Terrace, for example, we had just changed all of the door hardware. And in changing the door hardware, we refinished the doors, repainted the doors, and the doors wouldn't close all the way because the hardware was fresh and it didn't pull all the way closed. So you lose points for that. A lot of the stuff was it was a lot of minor, I wouldn't say minor, but smaller items. So, you know, making sure that the doors naturally pull close on their own. A lot of the items were in residence units with like egress issues. And those are things, you know, we try to inform the residents, say, listen, you know, you got to move this stuff. We even went so far as to go in some people's units and explain to them, hey, we need to move this and we'll put it back when we're done. But, you know, it's just kind of the nature of people living in a unit. They get accustomed to putting something in a certain place. It doesn't seem bothersome to them. And because it sits in front of a window or in front of a doorway or an exit, it causes problems. So we're going to do a lot more education with the residents on the egress. But there are some issues, just some things we overlooked and we were a little confused by. One of the biggest point losses we had was we use tankless water heaters at Centennial House. So there's no water actually in the tank until it needs to heat it. But it doesn't, so the tank naturally doesn't have an exhaust pipe because unlike a traditional water heater, there's really no water to exhaust. So we didn't put the exhaust pipes in, and it is still required because the majority of housing authorities aren't using tankless water heaters. So we couldn't argue that it shouldn't be there. The inspectors kind of look, it says it's supposed to be here, it's supposed to be here. So, and we still have the opportunity to appeal some of these items, but I've been a little hesitant because we've appealed so many times in the past. I don't want them to get sick of seeing our name on a piece of paper asking, you know, for more points or something. So, but you know, it was just some of the things were, you know, some issues like that, and a lot of, like I said, you know, smaller doors not closing. We had one or two of the test lights where only one of the two bulbs came on, little things like that. So it's us really now paying attention to the details and really kind of honing in on making sure that we're covering the smaller stuff. Anything else?
So they were kind of petty on some things, is what you're saying?
You know what,
That's what it sounds like to me.
I want to say that, and I would love to say that, except I have to be honest, the inspector was really fair. You know, I can't say that he really nitpicked with us. You know, one of the things I thought he got us for in almost every unit at Centennial House, I think it was, or was it Maple Terrace, with the way that our closet doors latch, it's like an accordion door. And what we used to lock the doors, just a little kind of like a ball on the end of the wall, so that the stuff kind of pushes around the ball and locks into place. It's not, you know, a metal latching mechanism. And he cited us because we didn't have a metal latching mechanism versus the ball that I guess we had installed at some point in time that does lock the closet.
Right.
You know, we lost points for that. And did I really think that was a hardware loss? No, because it does work. It's just not what you're accustomed to seeing. So, but there were other things where he did, you know, he would look at him and say, hey, you know what, this could be a severe issue, but I'm gonna, you know, kind of let you fix this. And one of our guys walked around with batteries for smoke detectors, and as long as we put it in there and it worked, we'd be fine. Or, you know, so he was fair. I think there were things that he could have harassed us on more that he didn't, and there were some things that he got us for, and I was kind of like, you know, really.
So y'all balanced out.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, it was a fair review.
But their job is also to find things that are wrong.
Oh, yeah.
And that is true. And then last year, you know, when we had the big jump in the family sites the first time, I actually got an email from HUD asking if the inspector what caused the jump, because they apparently are doubling back on the inspectors, making sure they're doing their job. Right. So it does go both ways. You're right, Commissioner Cruz. Some of it, I'm sure, is he can't walk out of here without signing anything.
Yes. Absolutely.
So you'll probably get another email saying, hey, why you do so well again?
I'm hoping so. I like those emails.
We doing any advertising on such a great score that you got?
Not yet, not yet. I just wanna to tell you guys first. It is something we do need to start talking more about. Is just and I think Commissioner Vorse always kind of brings it up too. We've come a very long way from where we were 2012 when I got here, and it's not I'm not saying that because I've done anything great. We have we've all worked.
Let's be honest.
I mean, we've all worked very hard. I mean, you guys as well. I mean, it truly has been a team effort between staff, the board, and myself, and we've come a very long way. And one of the things I wanted to do early on was stay out of the paper, but I think now it might be time to start talking about some of the things that we have done. It won't always all be good, but the reality is it's all a lot better than it used to be, and I think it's time we start telling people about how great of a place the Aurora Housing Authority is trying to become, and how far we've come towards that goal.
I understand.
So I'll get on the advertising part.
There you go.
Any other questions?
Old business.
You know what? Actually, we didn't table anything from last month, did we?
No.
Hey, so we don't have it.
I want to bring something
Say
up.
so.
I don't know if this is the right place, if we should talk about it, or maybe at a new business. I don't know if the rest of the commissioners got an email from Mr. Ponte.
We should probably do that in executive session.
Okay.
Yeah, just I mean you can.
Oh, that's good, that's
Okay.
fine, that's fine.
I thought about that too.
Okay.
But other than that, there's no old business.
Was it titled Ross Grant something?
Yes,
I saw it, I haven't read it yet.
okay. I think we just need to.
Sure. Oh, absolutely.
Session later on, we'll do that. New business.
We just have one resolution. We have to do an annual write-off of any bad debts. This year's amount is smaller by about 10% than last year's amount. If you remember, last year was over $100,000. This year it's $92,035.32. It is necessary we bring it before the board before we can actually record the write-off. It's essentially payments that haven't been made from residents, and it's now older than 90 days. One of the things we're trying to do, we do this write-off before the end of the fiscal year. Otherwise, if you have a large accounts receivable balance at the end of the year, it counts against you. So one of the things we're doing here is the necessary write-off that we need to do every year, but also this will help to improve our finance score through HUD. We will not, we always do write these amounts off, but we still continue to attempt to collect them. We send all of these to a collections agency. We get some of the money back. I'm not going to say we see a huge amount of it back, but from time to time we do get some checks from the collections agency just for monies they've collected for us.
And we'll just payroll deduct this out of your check?
Sure, yeah. As long as you guys can pay my mortgage, I'm fine with that.
Question.
Yes, sir.
Part of this loss is from people that have already moved out.
Mm-hmm. It's all from people who have moved out. Yeah, because once you get to a point where you owe us money, we go to evict, and then we realize there are two times generally when we see some of the money back. One, when somebody is trying to move back into affordable housing someplace else, because this goes into a system nationwide. So any housing authority who was going to give you housing would see that you owe us money, and in order to move into their housing, you have to pay us. So we get money back then, and we get money at tax time. Those two times we tend to get money. And there's a program I haven't talked to. The state, there's a state program that actually will, if you owe a state agency or federal agency money, will take that out of the tax return before it even gets sent to people. And I kind of keep slipping my mind, but I have to get us involved in that program too.
Keith, when you do the budget, because I don't remember every line item, can you put a percentage in there
Yes,
for this?
we do 10%.
Okay. 10% of total income expected or expenses?
No, total rent expected.
Okay.
Yeah, we do. There's an allowance built into the amount that we would budget.
I make a motion, we approve resolution 16-3, approval of write-offs of uncollectible balances.
Second.
Motion second, any other questions? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I didn't print it out. Mr. Johnson is a resident. He lives at Centennial. He was here last month as well. You're the president of you were the president of the resident council of Centennial House. That's right.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman?
Any other business?
No, if you guys want to go to executive session, you guys need a motion to do so.
A motion to close the meeting, and then a motion to go into executive session, or how does that?
Right, no,
work?
you're right.
So I'll entertain a motion to close the meeting.
I motion to have it closed.
Second?
Any questions on the motion? All in favor?
Aye. And I make a motion, we go into executive session,
You have to say why.
for discussing personnel issues, or
I'll
former personnel issues.
It's been motioned and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So be it.